What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with a brand new review for Ready to Love, you guys. This is season 9 reunion part 1. Now, before we go ahead and jump into this part 1 of the reunion, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and you guys are not subscribed yet, need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me on this date and then having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into part 1 of the Ready to Love Fort Worth, and I use that in air quotes, reunion, shall we? All right, you guys. So the reunion, it started up. So we talked about the mixers that Tommy had. Now, what I will say is I did enjoy the mixers this season. The fact that we had two different mixers, and so we weren't just overwhelmed with all the new people in one episode. I did like that this season, and I kind of hope that they continue with that. But we shall see what OWN decides to do going forward with the next season of Rated to Love. But also I did agree with, I don't forget who it was that made the comment. I think it was Dominique who made the comment about, one of the women being gone in the first mixer. I did agree with that. But you guys know we've been saying that for the last few seasons with Ready to Love, that we don't like the fact that someone leaves on the first episode. And so Ready to Love, they not listen to what we saying, and it is what it is at this point. We can't continue to just poke that horse, right? Now, after that, we move over to one of the couples who made it to the end of this season, and that would be Alonzo and Patrice. So we saw Alonzo and Patrice's package, and then we get to Alonzo and Patrice and where they currently stand with each other. And Alonzo, the crazy thing with Alonzo is we made it through the entire season with Alonzo. When we first started the season with Alonzo, we weren't necessarily 100% feeling Alonzo. But then as the episodes went by, it was like, okay, Alonzo's not that bad. Alonzo does joke a lot, but not a bad person overall. And then we get to the reunion. Now, after Alonzo and Patrice chose each other, Patrice says that Alonzo gave her a key to his apartment. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't see nothing wrong with that, right? If you know that this is the direction you want to go in and this is who you want to be with, then by all means, give her a key to your place. But then it went downhill from there because Patrice says that I think she said 3 days into this whole situation, she went over to his apartment and there was a woman there. So Tommy asked him who was the woman. And Alonzo says that the woman is someone that he's been friends with for years and it's nothing like that. He's trying to play it off as if it's a platonic relationship. So I'm assuming it's one of the, oh, that's my sister. Oh, that's my brother. Whatever. So then Patrice is like, what you don't know is I actually met up with the young lady. And I was like, uh-oh. She met up with the young lady. And she said that the young lady told her that they did, in fact, have the sexuals. And I was like, so you lying. Now, he said that the reason that the girl came over is because his Jeep was down and she was bringing him some groceries. I was like, okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense when there are apps out there that you can utilize to bring in your groceries. Instacart, you can use Instacart. You can use Uber Eats, like they'll deliver groceries. So that's not a good excuse at all. So then he says, yeah, he did sleep with the girl, but they just friends. And I was like, so you literally just lied, huh? Like you straight up lied, sir, and that's really all that it is you lied. And so then he wants to try to make it out like he can't, just because he's with Patrice, he can't have friends of the opposite sex. And that's not what anybody is saying, Alonzo. The issue in this equation is the fact that you're friends with someone that you were intimately involved with. And then you are in a new quote unquote relationship with Patrice. That's the issue. Because if you slept with this girl once before, who's to say it won't happen again? And then Patrice says that on top of it being that woman, I think there in total it was three women that he was sleeping with throughout this whole process, and that he regularly gets STD tested. Now, when it comes to at least he's he knows what his status is. So I'll give him that. But it is a little bothersome that you're sleeping with three different women unprotected, and then you wanted to come on this show to find love, and you're dating Patrice. You give Patrice a key to your place, but then you want to say, "Oh, well, she showed up in a car that she never comes over in." Like, Alonzo, what does that have to do with anything? The fact that she showed up in a different car, even if she showed up, what was going to happen if she showed up in her regular car? Were you going to put the woman in the closet? Were you going to tell her to jump out the window? Like, what were you going to do if Patrice had showed up in the car that she typically drives? Like, make it make sense, because nothing that you're saying is adding up and making any logical sense to anyone with a fully functioning brain. Like, Alonzo can miss me with the BS. Now, after we get through with Patrice and Alonzo's segment, we move over to Will's old lame behind, right? So on the stage, which you guys actually can see it on my screen, we have Patrice on the stage, we have Will on stage, Koshia, Mika, and Pick Me Alexis is on stage. So, ugh. Hey, Brandy, thank you for jumping on. I know that you have a wedding. What is it? A wedding that you're going to? I know you have something that you're doing today, so I appreciate you for jumping on before you actually go and do what you're doing. Uh, Brandy also says, "I'm questioning all these women who sleep with Alonzo." Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say I question them, because we don't know what they know. Because he could be lying to them the same way he was trying to sit on that stage and lie. So I want to say I'm questioning them, but it is a little weird that he was messing with three different women at the same time. Well, technically four if you want to count Patrice. It's so weird. So, like I said, we have Will's old lame behind on the stage, as well as I don't. I'm sitting here looking at this outfit that Alexis has on, and I am utterly confused by what the hell it is. Okay, so it's a meeting today and a wedding next Saturday. Okay, but yeah, I'm just so confused by what the hell Alexis has on. It just we'll talk about Alexis deeper. But this whole thing with Will, I had already saw this clip of Will going at it with Mika. And for me personally, Mika said nothing to him to warn or elicit the response that he gave to her, calling her a baby mama, calling her talking about she got her tubes tied and she got a BBL. Sir, you have on a fake chain. You have a fake chain on. I don't know what's up with this. Like, nothing about you screams that I got money, but okay, go off, right? Because he's talking about, look him up. I've lived here in Dallas for the last almost 10 years of my life. And I have not heard of Will. I have not saw Will on any billboards in Dallas. And I drive all over Dallas. So, Will, you full of SHIT. That's all I got to say, right? But he said he has multiple properties and he has assets. The question I'm going to ask about these assets: are these assets liquid? Are these assets easily something that you can get to? Like, you can have assets, but is there anything liquid behind those assets? Because if it's not, they're just blowing smoke at people's behinds, right? Then he goes on to say that he was talking about the fact that he did move out of his apartment, but he has multiple properties, and he was talking about the properties being staged. The question that I have is, why did you move? Why did you move out of your apartment and stay in a staged home? Because if that home then sells, then where you just gonna be bouncing from place to place? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And in my notes, I say that Will looked like a bitch going back and forth with Mika. And I'm so glad that she told him that chain is fake. She called him. She said that chain was fake. She called him a scammer. It was hilarious to me watching Mika go back and forth with him. I thought it was. I thought it was a key. Then you got Alexis, who's sitting on the side of Mika and Koshia. For someone who left early, like Mika said, she left early, and you sure do have a lot to say. And I was thinking the same thing. It's like, Alexis, man, you got a lot of mouth and a lot of bravado. But you, when Koshia was ready to fight you in the ladies' lounge, you didn't have much to say in that scene. You didn't have a whole lot to say, and then you're gonna sit there and tell them that between the both of them, there's half a brain. There's not even. I don't even think there's a quarter of a brain with you. I don't think there's a quarter, a nickel, a dime, a penny. I don't even think there's any kind of brain cells activity working with you. Your whole pick me. Like, I just really don't like Alexis. And I found it funny because, like I said, she's sitting. You see how she's sitting compared with them right now, right? But later in the episode, she gonna get a little rah rah. But you not rah rah in this moment. You in this ponytail from the 2000s. Oh god, this everything about this outfit just screams cheap as hell. But again, we'll talk about her once we get to it. So after we get through with this uncomfortable segment, we move on to another segment. And these next two segments, I cringed with both of them. The first one was we brought out Glenn, and I was like, oh my God. They actually brought him to the reunion. I was kind of surprised that they brought Glenn to the reunion. I don't understand why they brought Glenn to the reunion. I still feel like Glenn was a production plant, because if you guys go back to the first episode with Glenn, that car rolled down that hill, it stopped, and then it went back up the hill. You never saw Glenn. You never saw Glenn in the car. You never saw Glenn beside that confessional, beside his interview. That was the only time we saw Glenn. You just heard the audio of Glenn. Never saw Glenn at all. So Tommy is talking to Glenn. Glenn left he said he had a car accident. Living in Dallas, I believe it. Hey, hey, Motown investor, happy to see you. Happy Saturday to you. But I can believe that the man had a car accident, because there's car accidents every day in Dallas. If you don't live in Dallas, you wouldn't know, because, I mean, people in Dallas do not know how to drive. My God, today they drive horribly. Only thing for me is I've been here for almost 10 years, so I'm used to the way people drive. But I have been in my fair share of accidents here in Dallas, and not one of them have been my fault. People have hit me. Like last year when I got rear-ended, that was not my fault. He said that he talked about having anxiety, and looking at him sitting on this stage, I can see the anxiety, and I was like, y'all got this man sitting on the stage, and he literally seems so uncomfortable sitting on this stage. Like, you could look at his body language and it screamed uncomfortable. And then Tommy's talking about having him do a little mixer with the women backstage. I was like, oh my God, why are we doing this to this man? That man literally said the only reason why he is there is so that he doesn't get fined. And I honestly believed Glenn when he said that. Like, Glenn seems so out of place, so uncomfortable, and they got the man on this stage. I was like, ugh. And then Alexis backstage, she was like, I don't believe that accident. I cracked up laughing when that man got up and walked away from Alexis. I was like, amen, sir. Just leave this woman alone. So then the next segment after that was Leen. And another scene, I was like, why do we need this? Why do we need to bring this up? Laylan left early in the process, and I know Laylan said she had family issues. I believe she probably did have some family issues, but I also believe that she was like, you know what? Ain't none of these guys for me. So I'm gonna do me and myself a good favor and just exit the process. And so she said everything is good on the family front, and I was like, thank God for that, right? We love to hear that everything is good with the family. Then we talk about, she had a connection with Chaz, and I was like, Chaz had a connection with everybody. Let's stop playing that game right there. But he said if she would have stayed, he would have pursued her. We know, Chaz. We know that. By now we know your end game, right? So then I thought this was extremely messy, rude, and shady for Patrice to sit over there and say to Alonzo, like, wasn't she one of your connections at one point? And he was like, yeah, she was one of my connections. And I felt uncomfortable for Leen when she said that, because it was like, ma'am, that woman ain't said nothing to you. And then you're gonna sit there and say she can be on his roster. I was like, now, Patrice, that was rude to that lady. You may have your feelings towards it's fine to have your feelings towards Alonzo. That's cool. But to bring this woman into it, I just wasn't really feeling that personally. But you guys can tell me what you thought about that and how you felt about it. But for me, I thought it was just a little bit on the rude, messy, and shady side to say that woman could be on his roster. Now, Leyland does say that she is currently dating, and I'm happy for her. Like I said, I think Leyland saw the pickings of these men and was like, you know what, Jesus, is that you talking to me? Oh, you telling me to go home? Oh, Tommy, I got to get out of this process because yeah, I have a now again. I'm not saying that she didn't have a family issue, but what I will say is that family issue, it helped her get out of this process as well. But hey, you guys can let me know what you think and feel about that. But Tommy, I realized the people who left early or didn't show up, he wanted them to try to see if they can mix and mingle with some of the guys and some of the guys and ladies. I was like, Tommy, no, we're not doing that. We ain't got time for it. No, sir, no, sir. But that was that. Now, where do we go after this, you guys? So after that, we move on to this whole thing of what's his name? What's our boy's name? I already forgot the man's name. We moved back over to the situation with Alonzo, right? And you guys remember earlier in this season, it was the question of choked or spanked with him and Koshia, right? And Alonzo is just a world class liar. I really caught that in this part one of the reunion, that he's just a world class liar, because he's sitting here talking about the fact that choked or spanked, he meant like, you can kiss somebody and choke them. Now, have I saw people do that? Yes, but it's in the sense of it being sexual, not just somebody you on the street and you displaying PDA and you just choke them. No, that's not what it is. And so there are only two ways you can take choked or spanked, and that is physical abuse or sexually. And that's what it was. Like I wish Alonzo would stop lying and just be honest about what it was. Like, sir, you wanted to know how she got down in the bedroom, and when she didn't give into your advances, then you want to flip it and say, oh, it wasn't like that. That ain't what I meant. That's not how I meant it. That's exactly how you meant it, sir. Keep it real and be honest with yourself and with her. Because she was like, LaRon and Chaz knew that answer, but you wouldn't know that answer because, again, she wasn't romantically interested in Alonzo. That's all it was. But he said that they made up and and they're good. So if they good, I'm good, and I don't have anything else to say on that. But I will say, like I said a few minutes ago, I think Alonzo is full of it. He absolutely 100% is, because there's no other way you can take choked or spanked. I'm sorry, no other way you can take that. So then we wrap up part one of the reunion, you guys. So we had this segment where, they showed when they played Truth or Sexy, which I still think that was stupid, but whatever, right? And then you guys also remember earlier in the season that the ladies and the men both played a game of Guess Who Said This, right? So that's what Tommy did. He read some statements from the cast, and they would have to guess who said those statements. The first one was Chaz talking about Rashina. Was it? It was Rashina. The first one was Chaz. I knew that right off the bat when he read that statement that it was Chaz. The second one he read, it was a statement basically talking about William looks like William is a mixture between Forrest Gump and Jeffrey from the Toys R Us ads, right? And I was like, wow, that was rude as hell. Like so rude. And the person who said that was April. And I was like, April. She's like, well, he is tall. I was like, but to compare him to a giraffe and then Forrest Gump, like, what did you? I wonder what she had to think about missing side tooth Lamar, because my God, to call that man a giraffe and then to say that it was Jeffrey the giraffe and it was Jeffrey the giraffe and the Forrest Gump comment. I was like, damn, girl. Oh, they also played a clip of Rashina talking about choked or spanked. You can spank her, but don't choke her. What else? I think that was it. And then we got into a comment with where someone was talking about LaRon being a snake, and LaRon thought that it was he was under the impression that it was what's her name? Alexis. So that set Alexis off. And to be honest with you guys, I have no idea why that set Alexis off the way that it did. Because he didn't say nothing negative about you. I was so confused. I was like, ma'am, it you would think he disrespected her in that particular moment, but he didn't. And I was just like, I don't understand what's going on here. Because she went from A to Z. She called him when she called that man a dork, I hollered. I'm sorry. I was like, that was the best comeback you could come up with is he's a dork. Now she did call him a nigga. I heard her say nigga, but I was like, girl, a dork, a dork. Okay. So she going back and forth with him. Will is over there in the corner calling LaRon a clown. I was like, it takes one to know one. I was like, it takes a clown to know a clown, but okay, whatever, sir. And then they were trying to calm Alexis down, right? I think Alonzo came to try to get her. She's like, why are you coming over here getting me? And then Will was over there trying to talk to her. She's like, get the fuck away from me. Don't touch me. And I was like, girl, you're doing a lot. And then her and Justin got into it at one point. I was like, again, ma'am, what is going on here? But ultimately, the person who called LaRon the snake was William. I was like, oh, and I didn't remember that. Thank you, multi-investor saying. But yeah, William is the one that called LaRon the snake. But I just didn't understand why Alexis was doing what she was doing. Honestly, for me, I think Alexis probably looked back. I know that they filmed this before they saw the show, but I'm pretty sure they saw clips of the show before they went to the reunion. And I'm pretty sure Alexis saw herself and realized what a clown she looked like. And then she looks like a clown on the stage with this makeup and on and stuff. But she got up at one point and she told Mika, she said, I'll beat your ass. I was like, ma'am, I don't think that you can beat Mika up. That's just my personal opinion. But I mean, hey, if that's what you feel, then go ahead and try it. But I don't think you're gonna be successful in that. And it's like I said, it's really interesting with Alexis because if you guys look on the screen, she is sitting right beside Mika in the earlier scene, and she didn't even flinch or jump at Alexis. I mean, not Alexis, and Mika. But now you got all this energy from Mika. I think she had an energy for LaRon. I think she said she'll fight him. I think she said she'll fight him. She called him. I think she called him fat and whatever. It's like, girl, go away. Then she backstage going off on them, talking about you want a confessional. Here's your confessional, pointing the middle finger at the camera. I was like, girl, you're doing a lot. She's like, I spent the rack on it. I spent the rack to be here. I was like, what did you spend a rack on, ma'am? I am so confused. What cost a rack? Because this dress, it don't look like it costs a lot of money. These heels, yeah, nah, ma'am. Them heels look like they came from Payless, Charlotte Rue. You know, the hair, it's just a regular ponytail that you can buy from any hair store. And the makeup just ain't given. So I damn sure hope you didn't pay us a rack on the makeup. But okay, girl. Now, although Laurent ain't my favorite person, I did find it funny when Laurent told her she had on cubic zirconia. I No, he didn't say zirconia. He said zirconium or something like that. But when he told that girl she had on cubic zirconia, I was like, I do believe that that's what that is because it ain't giving real. But $1,000, girlfriend, ask for a refund. Hey, LNV. LNV says Alexis proved while her and Will had a connection. She sure did. A whole pick me. She's the female version of Will. She is. Like, it's so funny when you think about it. She and Will got into it with Mika on stage. Then she got into it with Laurent. And like I said, Laurent ain't my favorite person. He's not like my favorite person, but Laurent didn't say nothing to her to warrant that interaction. I think she was just I really think she was looking for a moment. I think she was just looking for a moment and it fell flat for me personally. You guys can tell me what you thought about it, but she sat up there looking like a clown in both segments that she was in. In this segment, she looked like a clown, and in the segment with Koshia and Mika, them, she looked like a clown. Actually, now I don't condone, you know, fighting or nothing like that. But in that moment, I kind of wish that Koshia had got up and just would have just you know, shifted that ponytail a little bit. I wish he had shifted the ponytail because Alexis got a lot of mouth, but you won't say that stuff. You didn't. I feel like Alexis didn't pipe up until she was getting held back. That's my personal opinion. LMV said, Tommy said we're in the middle of a game, and Alexis' reaction said, F your game. Wait, she said that? Because I didn't hear that. I have to go back and listen to that again. I did not hear her say that. I think Alexis just wanted a moment. I'm just gonna keep it real with you guys. Alexis wanted a moment because she looked like a clown all season. A lot of mouth, exactly what it was, because she didn't pipe up until she was held back. Because if you really was about that life, and like you told Mika, you would beat her up. If you gonna beat somebody up, you don't announce that to people. Oh, I'm gonna beat you up. That's not something you announce. If I want to get at you, I'm gonna get at you. We're gonna get active. So Alexis wasn't ready. Alexis just wanted to cause a scene. Um oh, okay, no, she didn't say it, but oh, how she kept going told time. Yeah, the way she kept going. Now, what I was confused about was her and Justin. I couldn't really make out what was going on between she and Justin. I was so confused by that whole interaction. 'Cause I was so confused. I was like, "What did Justin say to her?" And she got upset about that. It was funny to me the way she ignored Tommy. Oh yeah, because Tommy was like, "We playing a game," and she's still over there just screaming at the top of her lungs. And I was just like, "Okay, girlfriend." This is why I don't see it for Alexis. I'm so glad that I never have to see. As far as own goes, I don't have to see her again. My God, like if they do another Ready to Love make a move, don't ever invite this woman to anything ever again on own because she's a whole. When I say a whole no, a whole entire no for me. Like Alexis, no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am. But I thought it was funny though that she told Will to get the hell away from her. I was like, damn. In Kojo's chat, someone said Justin said he poked her in the eye. I don't know if that's. I don't either. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true because I was looking at that because they were. I think at one. I know at one point Justin was trying to calm her down, but she was so irate that you couldn't calm that woman down. So I don't know if he. I don't know if I necessarily believe that he poked her in the eye. I mean, it's possible, but as riled up as she was, I think she would have hit Justin. Let's just be real. I think she would have. I think she would have done something. I think if he hit her, even if it was an accident, I think that woman. I think for me personally, I feel like Alexis came there with an ulterior motive. That's the vibe that I was getting from Alexis. That she came there with an ulterior motive, because nothing that happened on that stage just made any sense to me. Because the whole thing with LaRon, it was just like, ma'am, he ain't said nothing to you. He just said that he thought you were the one that said it. And she's like, I let you know that I thought you were a clown. Well, I mean, a snake. Well, ma'am, I mean, let's just be real. I think this whole season was full of a bunch of snakes. If we're going to be honest with you, I think there were a bunch of snakes in this season. I think Chaz was a snake. I think, oh, she poked Justin. Okay. And they were saying she touched him. I did see her. So I will say, because I know with these gloves that she got on, there is there are nails on the gloves, and it does have a little tip. So she may have, but I know Justin was trying to calm that wild lady down at one point. I do know that much. He was trying to calm her down, but she just went from 0 to 1 million in a split second. She went from 0 to 1 million in a split second, and I was just like, okay, this is very interesting. And then she walked out the set, and she hit the cameraman. I was like, girl, and you do know if you break that camera, you paying for it. I just want you to know that, because those production equipments cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And I don't know if Alexis can afford that. Well, she said she spent a rack on this outfit. And again, Alexis, I'm gonna say this one more time for you, loud and clearly, girlfriend. If you spent a rack on this outfit, on anything that you got on, nothing you got on screams $1,000 or more. From the top to the bottom, from your hair to your shoes, nothing says a rack. Everything that you got on says clearance, discount, off the rack. That's the rack you're talking about. You got this stuff off the rack. Okay, now it makes sense. Off the rack, but a rack, no ma'am. But yeah, you guys, that was part one of the Ready to Love Fort Worth reunion. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Did you guys enjoy this? What I will say is this set is hideously ugly. I don't understand why they have this big heart on the stage, this cowboy boot with the spur and the star. I mean, I know why they have it, but I don't know why they have it. I know because I know the stars for the Lone Star State, and I know the cowboy boot is because people assume that we wear cowboy boots and hats down here in Texas, but we absolutely 100% do not do that stuff in a regular everyday life. That is not how we dress. And then the heart, I guess, is for love, but there were no love connections this season, no matter how hard nephew Tommy tries to make it a thing. There were no love connections for this season of Ready to Love. I mean, I don't think there ever really is any love connections, but hey, those are my thoughts and opinions. I want you guys to let me know your thoughts in the live chat or in the comment section in the replay. So that's all I got, you guys. So we will be back live next Saturday morning for part 2 of the reunion. And so you guys know, after part 2 of the reunion, the following Friday, we had that new show called Never Ever Met or Meet, whatever the title is that they need to work on again. I will review that show, but I haven't decided on what format I'm going to do it. If I'm going to do it strictly live, or if it's going to be a pre-recorded review. I'll let you know the closer we get to that episode, that first episode, and then that'll be it, you guys. But as always, you guys, I hope you guys have a great weekend. You guys stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll see you guys later on. So we'll be going. So tomorrow we have pre-recorded reviews for the Real Housewives of Potomac Reunion Part 2 and Summer House Martha's Vineyard, you guys. And I'll see you guys for those. And I also, I almost forgot about it, but I got to watch Chasing Dallas at some point today, and that review will be up sometime late tonight or early tomorrow as well. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.